5 months ago, I sat in front of my computer screen, watching my dream job slip away word by word. The interviewer's voice echoed through my headphones. "Thank you for your time, Diego." Click. The call ended. My future ended. All because I couldn't speak English. But today, exactly 5 months later, I'm earning $5,000 a month at that same company, speaking fluently with native speakers from around the world. This is the story of how I went from complete embarrassment to complete fluency in just 5 months. And if you've ever felt trapped by your own voice, if you've ever had dreams crushed by language barriers, then this story is for you. My name is Diego. I'm 26 years old, and I'm from Brazil. 5 months ago, I couldn't string together a single complete sentence in English. Not even "how are you?" Without stumbling, without my mind going blank, without that crushing feeling of inadequacy. I was a prisoner of my own limitations, watching opportunities pass me by, one conversation at a time. I had always dreamed of working for an international company. Software engineering was my passion, my talent, my escape from mediocrity. I coded day and night, perfecting my skills, building projects, imagining the day when I'd finally break free from the constraints of my small world. That day came when a recruiter from a major US tech company sent me an email. "Congratulations, you are selected for an interview." My heart raced. This was it, my moment, my ticket to a new life. But dreams have a way of turning into nightmares when you're not prepared. I opened Zoom that morning, confident in my abilities, ready to show them what I could do. 3 interviewers appeared on screen, all native English speakers, all talking at what seemed like superhuman speed. Their words blurred together like a foreign symphony I couldn't decode. Then came the first question. "Diego, can you tell us about yourself and your experience in software development?" Panic. Pure, ice-cold panic. I knew exactly what I wanted to say in Portuguese, but the words wouldn't translate. My mouth opened and what came out was linguistic carnage. Yes, I am. Software, I do coding, many projects, good. I am very good. The silence that followed was deafening. I could see it in their eyes, that mixture of confusion and pity. They asked another question. I fumbled again and again, until finally, mercifully, one of them smiled that polite smile of rejection and said, "All right, Diego, thank you for your time." That night, I stared at my ceiling, replaying every humiliating second. I had failed not because I wasn't qualified, not because I wasn't talented, but because I couldn't communicate. English wasn't just a language, I realized. It was the key to everything I wanted, and I didn't have it. I felt invisible, voiceless, trapped in a prison of my own making. Most people, when faced with this kind of failure, rush to expensive language schools. I had tried that route before. A year earlier, I'd paid for online English classes, memorized vocabulary lists, suffered through grammar exercises, studied rules that felt disconnected from reality. After 3 months of this torture, when I tried to have an actual conversation, I still couldn't speak. The traditional methods had failed me once, and I wasn't going to let them fail me again. I needed something different, something real, something that worked. So I created my own system, a 5-month method that would change everything. Let me take you through it, step by step, because your transformation starts here. For the first 15 days, I ignored every instinct telling me to learn more words. I already knew hundreds of words, yet I still couldn't speak. The problem wasn't vocabulary, it was fluency. I created what I called my survival sentence list, 50 simple sentences I needed in real life. Hi, how are you? Can you repeat that? I don't understand. I am learning English. I need a coffee, please. Every morning, I read these 50 sentences aloud 10 times. Not once, not twice, 10 times. My tongue felt clumsy at first, but after 5 days, these sentences became automatic responses. Then I did something that felt ridiculous but changed everything. I started speaking to myself in English. In the shower, I am taking a shower, the water is hot. I feel relaxed. While making breakfast, I am making eggs. I like eggs. They are easy to cook. At first, I felt foolish, but then I realized this was my private classroom. No judgment, no embarrassment, just practice. Within a week, my brain started thinking in English. I also practiced 5 sentences a day from movies and real conversations, but with obsessive attention to detail. I didn't just read them. I copied them exactly, matching the emotion, the speed, the pronunciation of native speakers. This wasn't just language learning, it was performance training. By the end of those first 15 days, something remarkable happened. I stopped translating in my head. Basic sentences flowed without conscious thought. Confidence began to replace fear. But this was just the foundation. The real work was about to begin. After 15 days of building basic fluency, I was ready for the next phase. I could form simple sentences without thinking, but I wanted more. I wanted real conversations, natural understanding, the ability to express complex thoughts without hesitation. So I developed what I call the question-answer method. The process was deceptively simple but devastatingly effective. I would ask myself a question in English, then answer immediately without overthinking. What did you do today? At first, my answer was painfully brief. I worked. But I forced myself to expand. I worked on my project. Then, I worked on my project for 3 hours. Then, I worked on my project for 3 hours. Then I took a break and had some coffee. Each repetition added layers, training my brain to think expansively in English. I did this for 30 minutes every single day. What did you eat for breakfast? I ate eggs. I ate eggs and toast. I ate eggs, toast, and a banana because I was really hungry and I love eating a big breakfast. The transformation was dramatic. My speaking speed increased, my sentences grew longer, and the internal translator in my head finally went silent. But speaking clearly wasn't enough if I still sounded foreign. I needed to master pronunciation, so I used what I call the echo technique. One would listen to native speakers from movies, YouTube, or podcasts, pause after each sentence, and repeat it exactly, matching their speed, tone, and emotion. I don't know what you're talking about, a character would say, and I would echo, I don't know what you're talking about, again and again until my voice began to mirror theirs. After a month of this daily practice, something incredible happened. Native speakers started telling me, "Wow, your English sounds really natural." The accent that had marked me as foreign was disappearing, replaced by something authentic. Vocabulary remained important, but memorizing word lists was useless. Instead, I used the story method. Every day I took 5 new words and wove them into a short story, then read that story aloud 10 times. For example, with the words excited, invitation, party, arrive, and surprise, I created. I was very excited because I received an invitation to a big party. When I arrived at the party, I got a huge surprise. It was my birthday party. This method embedded over 1,000 new words in my memory without mindless repetition. The most crucial breakthrough came when I trained my brain to think directly in English. I described everything around me in English. The sky is blue, the weather is hot, I see people walking, that man is wearing a red shirt. I asked myself questions and answered in English. What am I doing right now? I am sitting in a chair, drinking coffee, and writing in my notebook. Every night, I wrote my journal in English, documenting my day in simple sentences that gradually became more sophisticated. After a few weeks, I noticed something extraordinary. I was no longer translating. English thoughts arose naturally in my mind, but I made one rule that accelerated everything. Every day, I had to speak English for at least 2 hours. No excuses. If I had no one to talk to, I talked to myself. If I was busy, I spoke while cooking, cleaning, walking. If I felt lazy, I reminded myself that English was my future and I couldn't quit. As my confidence grew, I pushed myself further. I began analyzing why native speakers structured their sentences the way they did. I heard people say, "I have been learning English for 5 months," and realized this was different from what I'd learned in school. I am learning English for 5 months. This led me to research real-life English usage versus textbook English, and the differences were revelatory. I kept a notebook for confusing prepositions. On the bus, but in the car. At night, but in the morning. I wrote down common sentence structures and practiced them until they felt natural. Every night, I wrote in my diary, initially with simple sentences. Today I went to work. I was tired. I ate pizza. It was good. But I wanted to improve, so I studied how native speakers wrote, reading blogs, books, and news articles, then mimicking their style. Shadowing became my secret weapon. I found videos of native speakers, put on headphones, and repeated every word immediately after them, matching their speed and pronunciation. 20 minutes a day of this intense practice transformed my pronunciation dramatically. I also watched English movies with subtitles, pausing after every sentence to repeat it, focusing on pronunciation, tone, and rhythm. At this crucial stage, I realized something profound. English isn't just about words and grammar. It's about confidence. Many people know English but are paralyzed by fear. I made a decision that changed everything. I would not be afraid of making mistakes. I started speaking to people in English whenever possible, at work, at stores, with friends. Even when unsure, I spoke. And something surprising happened. People understood me even with small mistakes. They didn't laugh. This gave me the courage to continue. But my biggest fear remained, talking to native English speakers. The terror of not being understood, of freezing up, nearly overwhelmed me. So I developed a strategy. I prepared 10 common conversation topics and practiced them obsessively. How was your day? What do you do for work? What's your favorite food? I practiced answering these questions fluently, then took the leap. I joined an online group where people from different countries practiced English together. My hands shook during my first session, but I quickly realized everyone was there to learn, just like me. I made friends from around the world, and practicing with them not only improved my English but made learning enjoyable. As I reached the final stage of my journey, unshakable confidence grew within me. I was no longer the person who had been rejected because of poor English. I had transformed myself through consistent effort, practice, and the right mindset. One day, while speaking to myself in the mirror as I had done countless times before, something was different. I wasn't hesitating, wasn't translating. Words flowed naturally. It felt like magic, but it was the result of months of dedication. That same day, I tested my progress by joining an online discussion with native speakers from various countries. Initially nervous, I reminded myself I'd worked too hard to doubt myself now. Then I spoke. Words came out clearly, confidently. I didn't struggle to find the right expressions. I understood everything without feeling lost. people listened, nodded, asked me questions. It was an incredible moment. That was the day I knew I had achieved fluency. 5 months after beginning my journey, I applied for my dream job again. This time, I wasn't the same Diego who had walked in nervously months before. I wasn't the guy who hesitated, who felt small, who couldn't find words. This time, I walked into that interview room with absolute confidence. I sat before the interviewer not as someone who feared English, but as someone who had mastered it. I spoke clearly, answered every question with ease. I wasn't just speaking English. I was commanding it. I could see it in their eyes. They were impressed not just with my language, but with my effort, my persistence, my transformation. A few days later, the call came. Diego, congratulations, you got the job. For a moment, I couldn't believe it. The same company that had rejected me before now wanted me. My starting salary, $5,000 a month, more than I had ever imagined earning. I stood there, phone in hand, shaking, eyes full of tears. The first call I made was to my parents. "Mom, Dad, I did it." My mother started crying. My father, a man who rarely shows emotion, simply said, "We always knew you could." In that moment, I realized this victory wasn't just mine. It belonged to everyone who had believed in me. With my first salary, I bought my father a beautiful watch he had always wanted, but never purchased for himself. For my mother, I bought a gold necklace. She had sacrificed so much for our family, and now it was my turn to give back. When I handed them these gifts, they protested, "We don't need anything, son." But I shook my head. This is my way of saying thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself. That moment taught me everything was worth it. Every struggle, every late night, every moment of frustration, every time I felt like giving up, it was all worth it. Now let me share the most important lessons from my journey. First, mindset is everything. Most people fail because they believe they can't succeed. I used to think the same way, but when I changed my mindset, everything changed. I told myself English wasn't difficult, that I could learn it like any other skill. I stopped saying, "I am bad at English," and started saying, "I am improving every day." If you think you can't do it, you won't. But if you believe you can, you'll find a way. Second, surround yourself with English. I made English part of my daily life. I changed my phone's language to English, watched only English content, listened to English songs even when I didn't understand all the lyrics. I followed English-speaking influencers on social media. Every day, I fed my brain with English. I made sure to speak and think in English constantly. When I saw an object, I named it in English. If I saw a car, I'd say, "That's a blue car. It's moving fast." Small habits like this built my vocabulary naturally. Third, speak without fear. Many people are terrified of making mistakes, but mistakes are essential to learning. I used to be scared, but then I realized native speakers don't care about your mistakes. They appreciate your effort. So I forced myself to speak. I spoke to shopkeepers in English, asked strangers for directions in English, talked to myself in English whenever alone. The more I spoke, the better I became. Fourth, practice active listening and shadowing. Listening is as crucial as speaking. I trained my ears by listening to English podcasts, audiobooks, and conversations, but I didn't listen passively. I practiced shadowing, listening to sentences and repeating them immediately, mimicking pronunciation and rhythm. This dramatically improved my accent and fluency. Fifth, expand vocabulary smartly. Initially, I tried memorizing long word lists, but quickly realized this was pointless. Instead, I learned words in context, focusing on phrases rather than single words. Instead of memorizing happy, I learned, "I feel so happy today, and that movie made me really happy." Learning in context made words easier to remember and use naturally. Sixth, learn grammar without books. I didn't spend hours studying grammar textbooks. Instead, I learned grammar naturally through listening and speaking. When I made mistakes, I noted and corrected them. For example, I used to say, "He go to school." When corrected, I understood the proper form. He goes to school. The best way to learn grammar is by using the language, not memorizing rules. Finally, prioritize consistency over perfection. Some people try to learn everything perfectly before speaking. That's a mistake. I didn't wait until I was perfect. I started speaking from day one, even when I only knew a few words. I made a rule. Every day I would do something in English. Some days I spoke for 10 minutes. Some days I wrote a short paragraph. Some days I listened to a podcast. The key was consistency. Even on lazy days, I still did something. You don't need expensive classes. You don't need a perfect environment. You just need strong desire and commitment to practice daily. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, speaking English fluently and confidently. Imagine the opportunities that will come your way. Imagine how proud you'll feel. Start today. Speak, listen, practice, and never give up. Your future self will thank you. This isn't just about learning English. It's about transforming your life. If I can do it, you can do it too. It doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter how bad you think your English is. What matters is that you start today, right now. I know it's hard. I know it feels impossible sometimes. But trust me, the only thing standing between you and fluency is consistency. Stop doubting yourself. Stop making excuses. Surround yourself with English. Speak, listen, read, write every single day. Make mistakes, learn from them, improve. Because here's the truth. The pain of discipline is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. So what will you choose? Choose discipline. Choose growth. Choose success. Your journey to fluency starts now.